Okay, so once you have these two parts ready to go, got the blade and the main piece of the pencil sharpener, we need to connect those because in real life they would obviously just fall out. So what we can do is we can go to assembly and we can insert our document. Okay, so we could do them as separate pieces. Let's bring in this one to start with, and then let's bring in this one as a separate piece. Green tick that. Now they're floating around, so we can mate them to get them in the right place. So let's go for a fastened mate, and we're going to take this midsection and we're going to attach it to the origin. Okay, and that is now green ticked. This will not move anywhere. Okay, I'll show you a bit slower what I actually did there. So we also need to do the same with this one. Now I'm hovering over and I'm selecting not the face, but I'm selecting the circle. Okay, you can see that blue axis is pointing down, I suppose. I can click on that. I then want to do the same for this part. So if I was to click on this face, you can see the blue axis is randomly placed. Again, it can be on some points, but for us, we want to hover over this bit, this circle, and get the blue axis in the same direction, either up or down. Green tick it, sorry, click it, and then that's correct. If it was the wrong way around, I could use the arrow here, just flip it upside down, or I could rotate it round, which is obviously fine, just like this. Green tick that, and now nothing will move. Okay, so I click this, it's all held in place. There is no dodgy rotation. We still need to get our bolt, so you could go back into your part studio, you could create a new part by making your own bolt, but that's quite time consuming, and given the fact that we have got an M3 0.5 hole over here, we could just go in and go to our assembly and get the right size. Now I think when I originally did this, it was an M2 potentially, so I might have changed that. So you could go and change this from M2 to M3, and we also wanted to have a flat bottom rather than 118 degrees. So just go and check that that is all correct. We can then go back into our assembly. We can get our bolt. So if I go insert standard content, this is really, really useful. ISO is what we use, and we want bolts or screws, and we want a, crosshead recess is good, but we want a pan head screw. Okay, so that's got a rounded top part, 3mm. I think ours was 2mm potentially. I think ours, the one we wanted was M3. They're going to give us 3mm, that's fine. That's my fault. Insert. It will take a little bit of time. Bring it in, click it, green tick. There it is. Let's just go back and double check what the size is. So it's M3, 2mm. So that's not going to be long enough. We want it to go down 3mm. So we can update that. Let's see. Is that all the way through? No, that's perfect. So then we go back into our assembly, and we can now mate this effectively. So we can go with our fastened mate. We want this top part to be flush, so we're going to choose this hole just there, that circle, make sure our orientation is correct, and then we can green tick that. And we now have our M3 bolt that is correctly positioned. Now that looks a little bit big, so what we could potentially do is we could go and delete this pan head, like so, and we could go and insert one that's a little bit smaller. Okay, so maybe we want to go for an M2. It's 2mm on our original one, so we can go with this, insert that. It's going to bring it up. Automatically, what we could do is we could get this, if it's going to play ball, into the right position. You can see that that's gone a little bit too low, so we could go and edit that mate feature. We could get rid of this mate connector. It's a bit tricky to see it. Let's get rid of that mate connector. Like so, let's just move this out of the way, and then we can get our fastened mate. We can go into here, we can hover over that part, hover over this part, green tick it, and that looks a little bit better in terms of scale. What you will have to do though is head back into your part studio over here and edit this. So we want this to now be an M2 with a depth 2 millimeters, like so, and it will update everything as it's a parametric model accordingly. So there you go, that is your assembly. There's the screw on its, or the bolt on its own. We don't need that. We have our own assembly just here, and that is all ready to go.